I'm Alexander Freed, and I'm a senior writer on The Old Republic. Yeah, we are the biggest writing project the industry has ever undertaken. We've had, at any given time, about a dozen writers on the project. Over the course of half a decade. We've written a lot of dialogue. We've figured out a lot of stories and characters, and yeah, I mean it's an enormous beast to wrestle with, but hopefully we've gotten it fairly well tamed. It's not so much a matter of being intimidated by it as feeling, you feel a great responsibility for it, and you don't want to let people down. Everyone is coming to this game because they are fans of Star Wars. No one is a fan of this game because no one's played this game yet. So, when people are coming in with these expectations, you want to do a story that they're really going to love, that they're going to get excited by, that is a story that, fits the Star Wars that they want to see while still, feeling new and fresh enough that they don't react with, well, I've seen that before. So yeah, I mean, having this many people coming to the game because they love Star Wars, it is a big responsibility. It is something that you worry about now and then. No one has tried to approach MMOs from the point of view of the storytelling technology that single-player games have developed. And this isn't about making MMOs into single-player games. MMOs. Obviously different MMOs take different directions, but on the whole, they're using the sort of storytelling techniques and technology that single-player games used, in the early 90s. They're delivering their quests via text. They're, not really trying to create strong narrative arcs. This is not specific to MMOs. It's just specific to MMOs in a modern context. And we're trying to bring, modern storytelling in games into the MMO space through full voice acting, through real choices, through, impressive cinematics, through all of that. I think we've got a lot of unique aspects to the game. Obviously, one of the things that we've focused on is storytelling. I think that appeals to a broad range of people. We try not to look directly at, hey, we want to steal players from this game. It's a healthy market, it's a growing market. We want people to play our game, whether that's, they see that our game is doing unique and they want to play it either in addition to or instead of the game that they used to play, or if it's people completely new to the market. Ultimately, so long as people are coming and enjoying what we have to offer, that's what matters for us. Lucas has actually been great to work with. They very much respect us as storytellers, as game designers. They're not going to tell us, no, we don't like that for an arbitrary reason. They are keepers of Star Wars canon and Star Wars theme. And if they come to us with a concern, they come to us because they've got legitimate worries about, or just points of view about how this is going to either interact with the larger Star Wars universe, or whether it sort of fits that nebulous Star Wars feel of, is this something that you would actually make a Star Wars movie about, or does this feel like it fits another franchise better? So, their feedback has been great for that sort of thing. They know their property, and it's been a good collaborative relationship, and we've had really all the freedom that we've needed to create the stories and tell things the way we want to tell them. They obviously look at all aspects of the game. I'm speaking purely from a writing perspective. Again, it's sort of watching for that Star Wars feel. Wherever that may crop up, that sort of, not that we would actually try to do this, but, if we throw in a Sith Lord who is shooting flames from his fingertips, well, there's nothing that explicitly says the Force can't do that, but it's not really like anything that we've ever seen the Force doing. So, you know, we try to catch those sorts of things as well as we can on our end, but that's the sort of thing that they're very good at looking for. We have certainly had lengthy discussions on the short-term and the long-term future of the storyline for the game. For obvious reasons, I'm not going to say what those are, and we always try to leave some flexibility there. It's not as if we've got a detailed 5-year or 10-year plan of here's what's going to happen at every stage in the story, but we certainly have ideas of where we want to go. We opened up about day and a half ago. I can't say I've had the time to get a ton of the detailed forum posts read, but certainly we got a lot of feedback over Thanksgiving weekend when we had over 1 million people in there, and the feedback has been very positive overall. People who start out cautious about our game, who say, well, I don't know if I really want storytelling in an MMO, or I don't know if this is going to have enough challenges for me. They get in there, they play it, they see what we've done, and they come out excited, and that's great to see. I mean, it's always nice when people love us before they've played the game, but it's much more rewarding to see someone who doesn't think they're going to like the game. You can't ask for a better reaction than that. We've never gone into it going, we want to do Star Wars for adults. For us, the touchstones have always been the films, and probably more than any of the films, The Empire Strikes Back. When Star Wars is at its best, it appeals to a wide range of age for a wide variety of reasons. You've got very goofy characters. C-3PO is not, a serious, grim and gritty character, and he actually fits in just fine with, sort of the darker moments of the Star Wars movies. So, we try to incorporate all of those aspects as well as we can and just tell a good story. Bioware has, I think to a large degree, made its reputation on having big choices in its games. Those are the sorts of things that people talk about when they talk about Bioware games. They ask, hey, so what did you do in this situation? I did this. What was the fallout you saw from it? Oh my God, I never, I helped that character instead of killing them, and he was with me for the rest of the game. So that's what we were dedicated to bringing into the Old Republic from the beginning. Having those rewarding and difficult choices throughout. With not everyone is going to be world-shattering, but all of them should at least be emotionally engaging. And then some of them should be world-shattering. Every class has its own, unique class story, which is told from level 1 to level 50, or you may get out of it very slightly before level 50, depending on how quickly you run through it. But essentially, it runs through the natural course of progression in the game, in addition to all of the groupable content. These are essentially designed as solo quests. And each class story, is built around sort of the fantasy of that class. So the smuggler story is very much a sort of it's a crime story. It's got sort of wacky caper elements. It's, if you wanted to be sort of a sarcastic Han Solo type, yeah, the smuggler ought to play that out. You're going to get into difficult situations. You're going to get into odd relationships with people. The Sith warrior, very, very different. That's the Darth Vader fantasy, and even your light side Darth Vader is going to go in and be sweeping aside the minions of his enemies and all of that. And they all tell their own story within the context of the Old Republic. They don't necessarily interact directly, but they certainly have impact on one another. If you're playing the bounty hunter and the smuggler, you're going to see the story of the underworld in the Old Republic. If you're playing an Imperial agent, what's happening in the underworld, you may not be explicitly told, well, it was the bounty hunter who, caused this crime lord to rise to power, but you may encounter that crime lord at some point. So they are part of the same setting, and they all influence the setting as a whole. So I can't talk about specifics for post-release content. I can say, yes, there are many people working on that content. MMOs live or die based on adding new content, refining old systems, adding new systems, all of that. Bioware understands that we're not doing a single player game where we can put it out in the market and then, just be happy that it's out there. We need to be continuously refreshing the game and inviting in people who may think that they've seen it all, or addressing player concerns. So we've got aggressive plans, but at the moment I can't reveal details because we just need to get the game out. We try not to do sort of outside references, but there are plenty of little moments that much like the original Knights of the Old Republic, where you would find I'm not remembering a specific example, but you would find like some obscure blaster with the name of a character from the original Star Wars movies, and it's like, oh wow, his ancestor must have had a blaster 3,000 years ago. We've certainly got plenty of little moments like that, references to the original Knights of the Old Republic games, references to some very, very obscure novels and comics in the Star Wars universe, which I will be delighted to see if anyone picks up on. You work on a project for this long, and you have your hands in it, and you're seeing it every single day, and for a year and a half now, we've been getting feedback. We've been having outsiders playing the game, so it's not as if no one's seen this before, but going from this is a game in development that will be released someday to it's out there, and it's great, and after all this time, it's good to have a real reaction from people.